Man, you got that Madagascar brothers. I might need to come visit you.
Oh yeah, let me know. I've been to about 20 African countries. I don't know if you've been to the continent already or not, but I do tours, man. So let me know.
I haven't, and I did my father transition last July, not this July, July of 23,
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
so I had my stepmom swab him before the coroner took him, and she swabbed him, and I got it. I kind of forgot I had it. It was sitting in the car anyway, so I sent it off to Ancestry.com, and I wrote a letter like, "Hey, do whatever y'all can. You know, my dad transitioned. This all I got. You know." And came back, and a percentage of my father's DNA is from Madagascar. And I was like, ain't this about something?
Wow. Okay. Okay. I could believe it because, like I said, I've been to about 20 different countries on the continent. And I took a DNA too, and I had a little percentage of Madagascar as well. But when I'm in different countries, I'll see people that look like my dad. I see people that
Mm.
look like cousins or friends. But this is the first place I came to where I saw people that look like my mom and my aunt. And that was amazing to me. So I'm like, it got to be something. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome, brother.
Yeah, definitely beautiful people here. But I want to, man, I want to thank you so much for taking out your time to come on the platform. I understand you got a very busy schedule. You're doing some amazing things. So I just want to let you know that it's an honor to have this conversation with you.
Man, likewise. And whatever I can do, to continue to spread good, positive energy, that's what we're about. So once I saw it, I told my team, I said, I'm doing it. Y'all just put it together. I'm going to do it. So let's make it happen.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So for the viewers who may not recognize you, let them know who you are and definitely where you're from and what you do.
Yes, sir. I am Patrick Muhammad, also known as Patrick the Principal Farmer. I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia. My family and I live on a 31-acre farm, not too far from Atlanta's airport. We raise grass-fed beef, lamb, chicken, vegetables, and just quality life. Homesteading with a purpose. And then by day, I run a charter school called Chattahoochee Hills Charter School. So sustainable agriculture, environmental awareness, and the appreciation of the arts. And again, that's based right outside of Atlanta, Georgia as well.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's really cool. Big shout out to the A. When did you develop this passion for education and agriculture and writing books? Was this something that you've been passionate about your entire life, or did you kind of get into it later on?
It's a combination. So I'm originally from East St. Louis, Illinois, also known as the Boogie. So born and raised there. Grew up in a two-parent household. Both parents entrepreneurs. My father had a trucking company. My mom beautician, and a city of champions. We had that. When I was growing up, we were like number one murder capital. All my teenage years, but we didn't know that it was home for us. Grew up around people like Jackie Joyner Kersey, LaFonso Ellis, Conzo Martin, Darius Miles. They were like just people in the city. No one stood out as quote unquote famous or world renowned. Jackie was Jackie. Jackie was a hooper, right? So this Olympian was like, oh wow, she's an Olympian too. But went to Lincoln High School. I played basketball. And then from there, I got a basketball scholarship to Kentucky State University. And so from moving from East St. Louis, Illinois to Kentucky was a cultural shock. All of my teachers were African American growing up. Didn't have to interact with too many people outside of that. Only when we played games or visited the mall. But my day-to-day affairs were, in the city, you know, in East St. Louis. So going to Kentucky, I went to HBCU, but it's in the middle of Kentucky, right? So, our first couple of days on campus, it was like, hey, stay on campus. Don't venture too outside of the campus because you're in Kentucky. But that quality of air, the sunrise was different. Trying to catch that bluegrass in the morning was a challenge, right? And then, meeting friends that were from Kentucky, and we would go cow tipping, which I had never heard of before, being out and seeing like land, like people who own like land, was amazing. And so for me, basketball consumed me a lot while I was in college. But again, I did get a chance to appreciate, just being in Kentucky. And moved to Atlanta, started working in education, and just kind of climbed the education track from teaching to assistant principal to principalship, and had been doing that for many years. 2013 was a very critical year for me. So I was watching a video of Minister Farrakhan in September of 2013 called Farming is the Engine of Our National Life. And inside that video, he described how many acres that African American families used to own and how many acres we had lost. And the premise was buy land, they can't make any more. And so that statement just stuck out to me like, buy land, right? And it took me back to my childhood. I used to tell my mom, say, Mom, I'm going to have a house so big, I'm going to have a dolphin in my backyard. And she was like, baby, if you have a dolphin, you got to have some ocean. I was like, well, I just got to have a house where they had an ocean in the backyard, right? That's where my mind was just as a child. Nothing was impossible. It can be done. And so after that video, I told my wife, I said, hey, sweetie, Minister Farrakhan told me to go buy some land. She was like, I think he was talking to a whole lot of people. I was like, no, he's talking to me. We got to go buy land. And so this kind of put me on a quest to see, is it possible, to purchase land? Because, coming from East St. Louis to where my entire front yard, backyard was 70 by, 50. I didn't know anybody with land. I hadn't seen anybody or met anybody that owned acres and acres of land. And so the fact that I could own a piece of the earth, the 196,940,000 square miles, I could own a piece of it, was inspiring to me. And so from September to right about October, everyone I interacted with, I was like, hey, man, you used to be buying some land. You got land, I don't have land. Well, we should be buying land. I had anything but the inspiration. And so I talked it up enough that a mutual friend mentioned a guy named Wayne Swanson. He was like, hey, man, this is a guy named Wayne Swanson. He got 36 acres. And I was like, what? A black man? He was like, yeah, here's his phone number. And so I cold called Wayne, like, hey, man, you don't know me, but somebody gave you a number and I heard you got land. And so Wayne ended up inviting me to his farm, and he told me his story. And I'm looking at this black man. I'm walking his 36 acres. I'm looking at his cows and looking at his chicken and seeing his dogs off the leash, just walking with us and the fresh air. And I was like, man, like, how did you do this? And he was like, you want to do it? I'll show you how to do it. And I was like, you going to show me how to do it? He's like, yeah, I'll show you how to do it. And from that day to this day, we have a friendship unlike any other. And so that's October. December 8th, 2013, Wayne and a couple of my friends, we went and bought 8 cows with Wayne's truck, with Wayne's trailer, and we took the cows back to Wayne's house. And the rest, as people say, is history from there.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely inspiring. It's empowering as well. Unfortunately, a lot of people in our community, they don't see the value in the land. We're going through the gentrification thing. I'm from Cleveland. So just like St. Louis and many of the other cities, a lot of the neighborhoods we grew up in, they're being taken from us. But I myself, I started an urban garden in 2022. So I walk door to door. I stand on the corner. I ask people. I reach out to them. I said, let's buy this land. They had these houses. They'll be abandoned. They'll knock the house down. Then it turn into an empty lot. And then people dump trash and weapons and drugs in there. So I got about 3 of them now. My goal is to get 10 of them. But it's very difficult to get people to get that understanding of why we should invest in it. We can do a cooperative where everybody put in a little bit. We don't have to have millions of dollars, you know what I'm saying? Because once they take it from us, it's gonna be a Starbucks, it's gonna be a mall. We gonna be up out of there,
Yep. And one thing that I encourage, we bought our land July 29th, 2014 on my daughter's birthday. So we went from a subdivision house to 31 acres. No experience other than going to Wayne's house. So we bought these 31 acres. I didn't have a lawnmower. At this point now, I got 9 cows. I don't know what to do with these cows. Like when I say no experience, I'm talking no experience. I'm a principal, my wife's a teacher, and we got cows, right? So we bring these 9 cows to our farm and we started just trial and error, making mistakes, failing forward. And so, again, I'm talking it up. So people are coming by. I'm like, hey, man, you should do this too. Like I don't know what I'm doing, but you should buy a farm too. Like it's going to change your life. So I'm just talking it up, just whatever. So from 2014 to today, we've helped over 30 families move from their subdivision or apartments or condos or up north to literally on farms. And we show them how to get started. It's not as difficult as we make it seem. So one of the challenges in our community is someone can say something to us, but we don't research it, right? Oh man, that's gonna cost you $1 million. Does it really cost $1 million? Right? I don't have $1 million to go buy no farm, and I didn't have $1 million in 2014. But I got pre-qualified for a house, right? So what I tell people, I have a house with a big backyard. It just happened to be 31-acre backyard. But I didn't do anything fancy. I didn't, my wife and I saved our little teacher and principal money enough for the down payment, right? Now, the cost of living from 14 to 24 has increased, but we can't make it as difficult as it is perceived when it's not a reality, right? And so we have to do our research. So those properties that you have, so if we said, okay, collectively, every time there's a vacant lot, let's see what the back taxes are. Okay, that's a vacant lot next to you. How much those back taxes? Okay, we can buy for 2,500. Find 10 people with 250. Let's go buy this vacant lot. We're gonna turn it into an urban garden. And you buy vacant by vacant by vacant. Now you got block by block. Now you got street by street. Now you got 6 acres inside the city where you're doing urban farming. So nothing is impossible.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. And since you brought it up, do you offer like some type of workshop or courses? I know you got the school for the children, but I'm saying for adults or families, for the viewers that's watching that and what they want to, get to the next level.
Absolutely. Everything is on our website. You can go to patrickmuhammad.com or you can go to yourfaithforums.com. And so, yes, we offer consultation. And we if you're in the metro Atlanta, we offer something more than that. You get a chance to have me physically walk the farm with you, right? So when I talked about those 30 families, I'm not talking about Zillow and just sending them a link. I'm saying Patrick, the principal farmer, is showing up probably before you, looking at the land, looking at the area, looking at how to get there, what's the closest gas station, what's the closest hospital, what's your access to the highway, what kind of quality of grass is it? Is there a slope? Is there elevation? Is there fencing already? Is it barbed wire fencing? Is it panel fencing? Is there fruit trees? Is there water on the land, right? Does your neighbor have cows? Your neighbor have horses? People only got chickens. Like there's 10 years worth of data from the agriculture space that I'm reducing all the way down to almost turnkey, right? So if I recommend a farm to you, I'm telling you, I have a close friend that said, like, listen, you can go buy a farm, but buy this farm. I looked at their history. I see how much money they've made. They do weddings, they do conventions, they do gender reveals, and they're averaging about $300,000 a year. Buy this farm, don't change the name, add something on top of it, and today that family is still doing well, right? So I'm a principal, right? And so I believe in helping people. But one thing we didn't talk about is I'm a point guard by nature. And I'm an old school point guard too. I'm that Isaiah Thomas kind of point guard, right? And so I believe in engaging everybody on the team, right? I'm going to make sure my center gets a couple shots, my forward gets an easy layup. I got my 2-man that got that screen, and now he got the open jump shot. Now, if I got to score, I can score, but my job is to engage as many people, even the people that's on the bench. Well, likewise, I do that in my leadership style and then in people that I work with. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to get you as close to success as possible before I remove my hands, right? So if you're telling me that you want to get into the agriculture space, you don't know where to go and what to do, I'm going to talk to you about maybe you should just start off with chickens and only do eggs, right? I might talk to you about maybe you should just do honeybees because you're in a subdivision, right? And you're going to turn the entrance of your honeybee hive away from where people walk, but you can get 50 pounds of honey, per year from that honeybee hive. And if you take those 50 pounds, you know how it is. We have to break that down. We're going to sell it by the ounce, right? So now you're selling honey by the ounce, but you're making money off one beehive. I might talk to you about if you don't have enough space, you should only do quails. Quails take 6 weeks to mature, 6 weeks to eggs, right? So now in small square space, you can do eggs, you can do honeybees, you can do worms, right? Why do you want to do worms? Because that's your compost. You can sell worms to fishers and people that want to fish, or you can sell their manure, right? Their manure is a byproduct that's excellent for your garden. Now, if you have 50 acres, I'm telling you, hey, let's go 50 acres. We're doing some grass-fed beef, right? We got those cows out of there. We can do interspecies, so we can make sure we put some sheep right there. They eat grass at different levels, and so it's going to have a regenerative process. We're going to rotate them around. I'm going to introduce you to a processor, and you're going to sell grass-fed beef, right? Then I'm going to tell you, you can sell wholesale. You can go to the auction. You can flip it quick, or you can go to a processor and sell it by the pound. It's the same thing I learned in East St. Louis. We're going to break that bad boy down to the pound, right? Because wholesale, you can sell it for $2,000 at the auction for an 800-pound cow, or you can take it to the processor, break it down to 450 pounds. But if you're selling it for $9 a pound, now you make it a little more money, right? So it's those experiences and opportunities that I teach, inside of our course, or that I teach, one-on-one, with the client.
Wow, that's definitely priceless information. And there's just so many benefits to getting into that space. It's obviously nutritional benefits, economic benefits, physical benefits. But for me, from my experience, the mental benefits, you know what I'm saying? Just helping with the anxiety and the stress and the depression and, the different things that, our people go through in the community when they need to kind of, dial back and relax and tap back into nature.
One of the things you just said that is an underappreciated aspect of the farm life is noise pollution. Okay. When I say noise pollution, we are desensitized by living inside of the communities of the subdivisions, right? So we're used to hearing our neighbor's garage door go up and down. We're used to hearing somebody push out the trash can and close the top. We're used to hearing somebody blow their horn when the school bus comes. We're used to seeing somebody loud, charger that they start up early in the morning because they work the night shift. So we're used to the dog barking all night long because the dog is on a line and is barking at a raccoon or something. It can't get off, so it's going to bark all night until the raccoon. We're used to the light. Our neighbor got the motion light and it blinks right by our bed. And so it's coming through our shade. We're used to all of that. When you get to a farm and you get a chance to experience the lack of noise, it's priceless, right? My typical day, I'm awakened by the early morning insect that's probably a cricket, they're starting to chirp early in the morning. And then from the cricket, you get the morning songbird, they're starting to usher in the day. And then as the songbird, which is probably a morning dove, is talking, and then you begin to feel the buzz and the rhythm of the earth begin to pick up, right? And you see the sun starting to come up. You see the morning star fade away. And then you see the sun, come up. And then you can kind of feel the wind is a little more active, and right? But that's all intentional sounds. Okay. And then throughout the day, you feel the megahertz and the buzz of the earth. Now you got your cars and all that. But at the still of the night, you hear that last bullfrog that's making that last sound, right? And then you see the bats come out, and then it's still, right? The earth is at rest, it's quiet. And of course, there's predators that come out at night. But being able to appreciate that noise is only made by nature is a calming effect. I truly believe, big brother, that if you're suffering from blood pressure, now this is not medical advice, but if you're suffering from blood pressure, go to a farm and ask the farmer that has a beehive, can you interact with that beehive? At first, you're gonna be like crazy, right? You put the suit on, it like you can't get stung. You're like, I'm gonna get stung anyway. You're like, no, cover yourself up, put the gloves on, right? And once you open that hive and you can hear the thousands of bees, I mean, they're all over the place, right? And as your energy is up, the bees are all active and so you're stressed out. This is the worst idea, Patrick, right? But as you begin to calm down and feel and listen to the vibratory rate of this little bitty insect, and you get still into your mind and you can almost hear their little wings flapping. And then you calm down and realize they're not stinging you. And you start to try to identify the queen amongst all these thousands of bees, right? In that process, you're bringing down your stress level, right? You're tuning into a area of your mind that you haven't tuned in because you're full of the noise and the distractions that this world offers. But in this moment, you're concentrating on a tiny little insect. That process reduces so much stress because you get a chance to appreciate. They don't want to sting you in it. They're trying to protect the queen. So the more you relax, they like you're not a threat. You'll see people stick their hand in now. They don't have a glove on, right? Because you're connecting to the same level that they are connecting to. The last part I'll say on that is during the pandemic, we got so many calls because people are stuck in the house. We got so many calls that people want to come ride our horses. But at that point, I didn't have horses. I had one donkey because I had 31 acres and a mule, and I got a mule named Freedom just because I wanted to have a mule. And I say I'll get the other 9 acres later on. But anyway, and so people will call and say, "Hey, can I come by and ride your horse?" I didn't have a horse. I was like, "I ain't got a horse." Then I got a second call. "Hey, can we come by and ride the horse? We're stuck in the house. We want to get on to ride the horse." After like the fourth and fifth call, you know what I did? I went and got a horse. And so we began to, offer horse rides during the pandemic, and we would take somebody as small as 3 months old up to 86-year-olds, put them on horses and, showing them the beauty of it. But as I got more immersed in becoming a quote unquote cowboy, I realized on the days that I was stressed out from the school, my interaction with my horse would be totally different. And so after a couple, chance, like, oh man, that was a good horse ride. Just thinking I've got skills, I'm a cowboy. That's why the ride was good. After a couple of times, I realized it wasn't my skills. It was just the horse, right? And so horses can feel the rhythm of your heartbeat in a 20-foot radius, right? So 20 feet around the horse, they can feel the human's heartbeat, the rhythm, etc. And so when you see a horse is antsy, that's because that person approaching them, something going on with that person right there. They can feel it in their spirit. And so the more I got in tune with experiencing the gift of my horse, it changed how I interacted with them now. And so when I have my days and my rhythm is off, I go to my horse. I might not even ride him that day, but just interacting with him and rubbing on his head or rubbing on his shoulders, etc. That energy exchange is a very calming exchange. So that's why you see horses with hippotherapy, and they use it with a lot of our families that has mental challenges. That opportunity that farm life brings helps us that are struggling with different issues inside of our community.
Yeah, true indeed, true indeed. Because I can relate, like, sometimes you might go to bed, you got something on your mind, you think about something that happened in your childhood or something you're going through presently, or you worried about something that's gonna happen next week. Sometimes you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, but I know I hear them chickens chirping. I gotta get it
Mm-hmm.
together because they
Mm-hmm.
babies. I gotta go feed them. I can't skip them. By the time I feed them, I water the plants, then I get to the beehive. It's 10,000 of them, like you say. They got a rhythm. So if you
Mm-hmm.
move them too fast or too hard, they gonna make a sound, and then you
Mm-hmm.
gonna get yourself together, and then you gonna fully focus. And then by the time you do all that, you be like, what was I even mad about? What was I
Yep.
even thinking about?
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's still so early in the day. you got time to, change your whole day around. But if you went to the factory or you went to wherever else, you're gonna be mad and passing that bad energy on from person to person. So
Yeah.
I
One of
can
the
definitely
reasons I think my leadership has increased since I've been on my farm is the pace of life. And I attribute it to something very simple. So I got a chance to purchase my first tractor. I got a John Deere tractor and whatever. And there's certain speeds on the tractor, right? You can take up the RPMs, but it's a cap. It's only going to go so fast. The tractor is designed not to go fast, right? And so the pace of life on the farm is likened to the speed limits on the tractor. You can't farm fast. That defeats the purpose, right? You can't throw 1,000 seeds up and think you're going to get a perfect harvest. No, you got to take your time and put one seed down at a time, make another hole, put another seed down at a time, make another hole, right? And so the rhythm of the farm is at a slower pace so you can appreciate the beauty of the farm. And so starting my days off every day with seeing my chickens and picking up an egg for breakfast and listening to the rooster on the hour, every hour, listening to the howl of the dogs, communicating with the coyotes is up in the woods, right? All of that zen and that form piece. When I come to work, I bring that spirit. I don't bring the spirit of honking the horn and flying by somebody and cussing out somebody because they didn't get me out the subdivision. I come with a very calm piece. And so my staff, as the school leader, my staff has to match their energy with my energy, right? So I'm not the principal. I'm not going to cuss out a staff member. I'm not going to talk to you about how terrible you are. I'm going to find something good that you have done in your classroom. I like your bulletin board. That's an excellent bulletin board. Do you mind your small groups might need a little more work? But I'm going to start with the compliment. I'm going to start with something I see you doing well, so I can keep that same energy. So as it transfers throughout the school, we have a rhythm on our campus to where we don't raise our voice. And if somebody raises your voice, it's like, oh Lord, what's wrong with that person? That's the oddball on my campus. That's not the standard. And so you'll see my children on my campus. I can't walk down my pathways, without 60, 75 hugs, right? Because this person, this principal, this man that we know, Mr. Muhammad, he has an energy, and I like to get that same energy, right? Because we're a community school. I don't go to the grocery store and think I'm going to go in and get some milk and come back out. I know when I go in the grocery store, it might be a 15 minutes, but it's going to be 45 because I'm guaranteed to see one of my children, one of my staff members, one of my parents, one of my community members. But the way I can receive that is because of the energy that has been transferred from living on the farm. And now I'm taking that energy off the farm into the community.
Wow, that's so amazing. Now I want to ask you about your books. You are author. First and foremost, you working on something right now. If you can tell us what it's about, what inspired you, and when can we expect it?
Yeah, so my current books, I have Confessions of a Principal, and it's 30 principles to lead by. And I wrote this in my first 5 years of being a principal. Um, I'm that kind of principal that I remember my first visit by one of my mentors, and we were going around my school, and we got back to my office, and she said, "Your shoes are not loud enough." And I looked at my shoes. I thought I bought a nice pair of shoes. And she was like, "Yeah, they're not loud enough." I said, "What's wrong with my shoes?" And she said, "Well, your staff didn't jump when you came around." And I said, "Why should my staff jump?" She's like, "They should be scared and fearful of you." I said, "Well, I think this is where we disagree." One, at that point, I had been assistant principal in that same building for 7 years. So even though I became the principal, I have known these people at this point 8, 9 years. I know their mother, I know their pets, I know their children, I know their habits, I know their dietary concerns. This is my staff. This is my family that I'm with 180 days a year for 8 hours a day. So I don't want them to fear me. I want them to respect me, but I don't want them to be fearful because they fear me. What's that going to do with my children? Now, my students in that class are fearful of them. I said, that's not my leadership style. So Confessions of a Principal is where I'm showing leadership styles to really lead people, not scare people that you work for. And so this book gives principles from education, to business, to family. It's a universal leadership book. And then I have my children's book. It's not Old MacDonald, it's The Principal Farmer Has a Farm. And it talks about my two passions, education and farming. And I wrote this just to inspire children and show them the different persona of a modern day farmer. Yes, I have my overalls. Yes, I have my boots, but I'm a modern day farmer. I throw on my hoodie and, go out to the store. And my boots might be a little clean sometimes, but I got my dirty boots as well. But introducing them to aspects of farming, introducing them to aspects of eating right and eating healthy and understanding where food comes from. And I'm also working on our memoir from our farm. And it's called Farming by Faith. And we're looking to have that out, before the holiday season. But that's where I'm going to really go into how we got started, why we got started, give some guidance along the way, some inspiration. It's been a labor of love. It's been a journey that I would do it all over again the same way. It's been a blessing not only to my family, but there's thousands of people who have interacted on our farm space, from events to lessons to training. I have so many people that their careers have changed because of experiencing just our little farm and our connections. And so it's called Farming by Faith because it's nothing but faith that's got us this far. It hasn't been finances. it was strictly faith. So we look to have that book out during the holiday season.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna definitely have to check that out. That's really amazing. Like I say, it's inspiring and it's empowering too because you actually doing it. And I seen the videos online. I checked out the website. It looked good. It looked amazing. And I'm sure that them children and the people you educating with this information, like you say, their lives is gonna be changed forever.
Yes, sir. The goal is this is not a written goal on our website, right? This is the principle behind the scenes. But my goal is to create, on a very surface level, is to create anti-drive-through children. Okay. And what I mean by that is the students that interact with me and my staff at our school, because they're going to understand where food comes from, what do you have to do to take something from seed all the way to your seat? What does it take to source fresh food? And what are the health benefits of doing all the above? Because they understand that process, they're the kid that's in the back of the car saying, Mommy, don't go through the drive-through. Don't go through the drive-through. Because everything in the drive-through is going to be fried in the same grease. It's all going to taste the same. It can't be fresh. And if they have fed 50 people in 5 minutes in a drive-through, it can't be cooked that well. No, Mommy, take me to the grocery store, right? Because at Chattahoochee Hills, we learn how to source our food, what food we should get, and the nutrients that we benefit from. So take me to the grocery store. It means I got to park my car, right? We have to get out as a family, and we got to walk into the grocery store, right? Now, when we get in the grocery store, Mom and Dad and Grandmommy, I don't want to shop in the middle aisles. We're going to go on the exterior aisles where they have the fresh fruits and vegetables all over here. So we're going to shop on the exterior aisles of the grocery store because in the middle is the frozen stuff and the processed stuff because this is what we learned at our school, right? Our principal tells us, flip over the package and see how many ingredients have been grown out of the ground. But if it starts to have a number after the color, that means it didn't grow out like red 40, yellow 15, blue 19. No, we don't eat those things, right? So my students are the kind that say, let's go to the exterior aisles and look at the fresh fruits, the fresh vegetables. We'll look at the meat where we can identify and look at the color of the meat, and we can look at the dates on the meat and see where it came from. We're going to keep going over to the dairy section, and we're going to see the eggs, the cage-free eggs, the free-range eggs. We're going to see the cheese and the different kind of cheeses, and it tells you which farm it came from, etc. And so we're trying to create that kind of child because now when they exit that grocery store, that food is not ready to be consumed. So now we got to take those packages, put them back in the car, drive to our house, take the bags out of the car, take them into the kitchen. Now we got to pull out that family recipe, right? We got to pull out that family recipe that grandmama gave, that she got from great grandmama, that she passed down to my mom, who hasn't cooked in 20 years, that's now about to cook with my daddy because he didn't learn how to cook because he was an athlete. He was a fast food person. So now we're all in the kitchen. We're slowing down our life to pull out these things we got from the exterior, and now we're about to cook this recipe, right? Fill out this recipe. After that, it's going to take time to cook. Now we're so tired from all of that, we're going to sit down as a family and consume, right? And so being an anti-drive-through child is more than just not being suckered in by the 2 for 2. It's healing the entire family. Now grandmama's diabetes is not going to be as bad because she ain't getting that extra large sweet tea from McDonald's that's full of sugar. Right now, she got some orange juice that we got from the exterior aisle. Now, the cavities that our child is suffering from, they're not going to have it because they ain't buy all the cookies because it was 10 cookies for $1, right, at the drive-through. And they had to get the ice cream with it, right? Now, our blood pressure is better because we don't have all the salt. Because, I used to work at McDonald's, right? Cheese on a dozen. That means half was cheese, the half was a regular hamburger, and then you just shook that. You just keep on shaking it. It was no measuring on the salt shaker. You just put all the salt in there, And so now the diet of our family is improved, the communication of our family improved, the wellness of our family is improved, just because we took time and did not go through the drive-through.
Wow, man, it's been a phenomenal episode. I'm still processing a lot of the information that you shared, and I'm definitely looking forward to that book.
Yeah.
My family is really located in Nashville, so I'm
Okay.
down there a lot. So I'm gonna have to come to the A and check you out, next time if you have an event. And I really appreciate you stopping by. Was it anything else you wanted to that I missed
I
that you
would
got coming up or going on?
I would say anytime you're in the city, come one down. You have an open invitation to my farm, open invitation to the school. I would say continue the work that you're doing on your platform. We appreciate you giving an opportunity for people to be honest and share the good things that's happening in our community. Too often we harbor on the things that are not going right. I would also say to the listening audience, please check us out on our social media. We're Your Faith Farms on all of our social media. And we believe in just being, no cap. Like if I said I did it, I did it. We have proof positive. This is not cap. You don't have to worry about going and typing in and no, he don't have a farm. He really got a monopoly farm. No, like what we say we do, we're doing. And so our school is excelling because we put that seed down in the ground first and made sure everything was right. So as it's growing and people like yourself are seeing the fruit of the harvest, you can know that those roots are solid because we were very intentional at the beginning to make sure that everything that comes from Patrick, the principal farmer, is right and exact. So thank you. And I look forward to any opportunity that comes from participating in your podcast.
Oh yeah, likewise. It's been an honor, and thank you to Kim too as well. I appreciate hooking it all up.